What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? A2HH Live on a Friday. We already got one thumbs down. Damn. I guess that's for being a couple minutes late. I don't know. Coop, how you doing, brother?
It's victory cigar time, Mike. It's victory cigar time for a couple reasons. I can't even see
Okay.
you. No, I really can't see you because your camera went up.
No. I'm working on it. Go ahead.
No. You're cool. You're good. So, I believe, Mike, either tomorrow or Sunday, actually makes our 3-year anniversary of doing
That's
the
right.
podcast.
I should have poured up something for that. Yeah. So it's been 3 years in totality, right?
This was what I was wearing when you called me, Mike, 3 years ago.
Word. That's a throwback for real. And you know what? I think that we decided to get on YouTube. I want to say, let me fix my camera again. We decided to get on YouTube. I want to say maybe
20 months ago.
something like that. Yeah. We should have done it sooner, but yeah, we were doing our lives on IG Live and Facebook, and that's when we just had like the Fridays popping, right?
That is correct.
We got some major announcements coming up in the next couple of weeks. In regards to the show, improving the show, making the show better, and getting to that next level. But I think today was a step in that direction as well. Coop, you sat down with Hit Boy, and yeah, man, it was an incredible interview. Great job on the interview. For the people who saw it on the live that was before this show, you can go check it out on Mirror Music right now. Make sure you subscribe to Mirror Music. Tell people about that page, Coop, real quick.
Yeah. Mirror Music 99. That's my page with me and my lifelong friend Andrew, where we kind of take a hip hop song and a popular culture song, and we juxtapose it. Show a little love to my sub page. We're building out and expanding brands and growing. And my life as a journalist is kind of like taking a step forward today because of Hit. I want to thank everybody that's been supporting you and I on According to Hip Hop. Everybody that's been supporting us on this journey personally. Part of why I wanted to give Mirror Music a push too, if I could just sidebar for a second, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
My guy Andrew has been the type of friend that most people could only pray to have. You know what I'm saying? Like, he edits for me. And when I mean he edits for me, he's been editing for me since I was about 15, 16 years old. Like, so what he does for our YouTube show isn't like new. He's literally been like damn near my editor my whole life.
Oh, that's
like we ran the school newspaper together, but it was really like he was really the editor and I was just the senior writer. You know what I'm saying? And so just shout out to him. And I just wanted to give him some love and show our page some love for his lifelong dedication and service, because he, as much as anybody, has helped me get to the point of being able to interview Hit Boy. He's the person that used to edit the stuff that I used to give to you. So shout out to him. Shout out to West Boulevard and Beatty's Ford, where my family is from, and just, it was a beautiful day. I used to live in Corona, as, people now know, not too far from where Hit is from. So I'm familiar with the area. And overall, Hit just seemed like a really good guy.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? He just seemed like a good brother. I really enjoyed talking to him. I definitely want to link up with him when I go to Cali. When According to Hip Hop goes to Cali, we need to link up with him most definitely.
Yeah, you got invited to the studio. So yeah, definitely, we got to go out there and do that. Man, shout out to Hit Boy, and shout out to the people, man, like you said, Coop, for supporting us over this, journey in this podcast and its organic growth. And the people made this interview happen as well. Like,
no, it is the people. That's what. No, it's nothing without the people.
Yeah.
Nothing without
y'all were on the helmets of everybody involved. Like, look, make this happen. And and shout out to Hit Boy for actually listening to the people in a way that not a lot of people in the industry do. And he answered the call, and you answered the call, put together a great interview, great questions, and very insightful. It's a lot of stuff that I learned from the interview myself, just just listening to it, and just how y'all kind of handled everything section for section.
What were some of your highlights? Are there some things that you kind of like to go over from the interview that kind
Yeah.
of stuck in your mind? What stuck out? I want to hear because I haven't watched the interview yet. Obviously, I was the interviewer. You know what I'm saying? But like, you want to sit back and look at it from the framework of like the listener, and I haven't had the opportunity to do that yet. So, what were your takes on the highlights, lowlights? You know what I'm saying?
Well, let me get to the people real quick, and then I'm gonna get to that. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, "I was gonna ask an MC question, but after that Hit Boy interview, I want to just say congrats." And most of my super chats are gonna be celebratory. F a hip hop question. Well, shout out to you, CJ Kidd. CJ Kidd's always showing love, man. We got to go up to the Jersey and show love too. And speaking of which, man, I was just randomly, I mean, not randomly at the barbershop. I was at the barbershop and a gentleman approached me and was like, I guess recognized me from the show, and it was Blue Collar Hustler. So I want to shout out Blue Collar Hustler, showing love to the show. He's been around for a minute. I don't even know how long Blue Collar Hustler's been listening. Actually, I do, because he told me today. He said he discovered our show after Magic and our show on Magic. So he said, appreciate what we do out here, and we totally appreciate you for your participation too, Blue Collar Hustler. Nas the GOAT with the super chat says, Peace Kings, Coops, now we need that Nas interview. I guess that's next, right? JY with the super chat says, Coops on a Hit Boy like run on interviews. Congrats. JY out there in Australia. Sean with the $20 super chat says, love the show, guys. Love the growth and knowledge y'all display. And Coop, great journalism on the Hit Boy interview. Well-rounded interview.
Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
That's the last person that I need to give some credit to. I still can't thank Chris the Glove Taylor enough, because not only did I learn a lot, but he also helped me learn not just history, but what questions to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Like going back and watching those interviews gave me a template and a format, and it's like, oh, when I asked him that is when, boom, that happened. And when I got that, so he taught me a lot, even just from the art of interviewing, just from his nonverbal and verbal responses in the interview. And also, when I was coming up with the name Cornerstone Conversations, that comes from the glove too. Because after our first interview, I was like, this guy is really a cornerstone figure in hip hop that I'm talking to.
Mm-hmm.
And in music, he's a cornerstone figure. And I was thinking to myself, well, these are the types of conversations that I want to have.
Yeah. Eric Terrell with the super chat says, best Bobby Caldwell sample song goes to The Light, Sky's the Limit, or Do for Love. R.I.P. Bobby Caldwell. R.I.P. Bobby Caldwell, definitely. It's funny you say that, Eric Terrell, because the first thing that popped in my mind was the Tupac, What You Won't Do for Love, before The Light, which is a problem because, The Light's probably, the bigger and better song. But I don't know why when I heard the news of Bobby Caldwell, the first thing I thought hip-hop wise was Tupac. But yes, if to answer your question, The Light is the answer to that question. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, I believe this is the first interview the Hit Boy addressed the Hitmaker situation. If Hot 97 and Breakfast Club use audio from you guys have been solidified. No one can say ish. 007 with the super chat says, salute. Keep the contributions to the culture coming. Definitely will. And shout out to 007. You know what? I'm moving and shaking. I had it running live because I had to get ready for this show. I didn't catch that one section with the Hitmaker thing. So I'll let people go check that out and watch it for themselves, unless you want to talk about a little bit of that. But I was going to go somewhere else with it.
Where you want to go?
Well, home. CJ Kidd, one more super chat. He says, Coop, you need to come back to New York City to do an interview with Interview Jungle on the roof of the QB building. One step away from Nas' interview. Yeah, that'd be a dope interview, you and Jungle. Where I want to go is the fact that, okay, I think I said this offline. I think it's very interesting that Hit Boy is one of those producers that, like yourself, he digs in the crates, does his research on, said subject. And I think in this scenario, Nas was the subject. You're producing a whole project for Nas, he's the subject at hand, right? And I thought that it was very interesting to me that he said he came across our show around the King's disease time, and he was listening to some of our conversations and some of our interactions with people, um, to go back and listen to certain Nas records and kind of get inspiration and I guess a format from there. And that kind of gave me an insight to how he works. And it also let me know that Nas is he's an artist that has so much of a wealth of a catalog and a lot of intricate work that you might need some guiding, even if you are familiar, because you can't be a hip hop fan without being somewhat familiar. But I tell you all the time, I got Nas I mean, now he's in number one, but I've always had Nas top three. And the people let me know of so many unreleased Nas records that I haven't heard like ever. And the fact that we've been able to give a roadmap to somebody who's actively working with that said artist and making, some of the most impressive music that, an artist has made at this point in his career and possibly period. I thought that was very, very interesting that Hit Boy said that. That was one of the highlights for me, and just how he approaches production.
When he said that, Mike, on the inside, I smiled because I thought of Magic production wise. And I'm like, oh, so he was moving with the intention and with the soul samples and the beat breaks and the loops. I'm like, oh, there goes the intention right there. So not even giving us credit. It's like, no.
You went out for a second, Coop. You there? Coop, pause for a
Still
second.
here.
Okay, yeah, you're good. You back.
Okay. In that moment, what he's doing is he's acknowledging, he's like, no, I'm listening to the people who like him through all the errors and what they feel like his best stuff is. And so when we're having the conversations, Mike, about like, man, it really seems like Hit is pulling from the best part of what producers have done for him. And it's like, well, today was the evidence. It's like, no, he was going back and listening and pulling from the best parts of them. Yeah. If we help assist in that, call that a small contribution on our part to, hip hop and hip hop greatness, and proud to be a part of it. But really happy that somebody like Hit, coming from the generation of singles placements over albums, took the time to even do that. Like, that said a lot about him as a producer when he told me that.
I like his approach on production, and I think that that's the type of, that's why he's able to get the output that he gets. Like you said, his approach is a little bit different than, some of his contemporaries, because not only is he listening to his own ears and his own skill set, he's listening to what the people say are, the best things coming out of that artist. And the whole purpose of, according to hip hop and the format that, we have kind of developed over time, was for, to bridge that gap between the fans and the artists, right? And to basically make a clear transition between the two. And now we're all able to actually talk to each other, and we're seeing this. And I feel like this KD trilogy and Magic is examples of what happens when you do have clear communication with the audience and the artists. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's a beautiful thing. I know you and I speak in jest sometimes as far as like, certain artists, listening to us, but that was interesting to me. This was actually some level of confirmation today. Like, I think one of the things that we said about the first KD when it came out was, the beat breaks, and that being, where Nas is at his strongest. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I found it very interesting when, Death Row East came up. Of course, we knew that was coming. He said Death Row East was the first song recorded on KD2.
Correct.
Okay. Into You Jams with the super chat says, I've been rocking with A2HH right after KD1. Great work, Mike D and Coop. Great interview with Hit Boy 2 Coop. Shout out from South Africa. Shout out to South Africa. We appreciate the support. Peter Parks with the super chat says, great growth, guys. Blessings. Esquire with the super chat says, big props to the Hit interview. I'm proud of A2HH's progress. Like extended family, Coop. Let me find out A2HH put Hit Boy onto Take It in Blood. Might have inspired records like Speechless and Thun. Salute. Yeah. That's dope, man. Again, that is very dope stuff. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, someone said Coop's interview Young Guru and watch Leroy light up in the chat.
Hilarious.
Speaking of Young Guru, man, did you hear that they're saying that a Michael Jackson and Jay-Z song or something is coming this year? Or was that Just Blaze confirming that Michael Jackson was supposed to be on Girls, Girls, Girls? I don't know.
Who knows?
What were some of your big takeaways from the interview? Just from your standpoint.
I liked the fact that he identified the fact, and he said it multiple times, it's almost like being this multifaceted as a producer and working with multifaceted acts has almost hurt his branding because he doesn't have a signature sound. And I think in the long run, and that's why I'm saying he's a top 10 producer, I was like, well, when you actually look at it in the culmination of all the things, it's like he has, and I can't think of anybody who's really done this, Mike, where he's gone from really being somebody who's a singles-driven rap producer and mostly R&B producer into somebody that you can entrust with your full-on rap project, whether it be a street dude like Benny, a legend like Nas, or an R&B vet like Music Soul Child. It's like you can literally hand almost anybody over to him. That's who the best is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it who the best is?
Yeah, you're right.
That's what I was thinking when he was talking. And what was crazy, Mike, and I'm sorry to cut you off.
No,
in my mind, I'm looking at the questions that I had. You know what I'm saying? And all the people that he's worked with, and I was like, man, I could end up here damn near not quite like Glove because he hasn't been doing it as long as Glove. I was like, I could do another hour of this shit. I was like, I just can tell how fam moving. He probably got to go soon. Yeah. He's already showing love. But it's like, man, I could do this for another hour in terms of some of the other stuff that I had lined up just based on who he's worked with.
He got an album dropping next week, right?
Yeah, it's dropping on the 24th. It's dropping next Friday. We got into his songs, and I kind of want to talk about his songs too, because what I like about what I heard is that it didn't sound like what I just heard from him.
Well, I saw a track list for it, right? He has, what I'm seeing, Nas is on the record called The Tide. You got Dom Kennedy and J305, Dom Kennedy again. You got Currency on the album, Stank Nitty James, Devin Morrison, Alchemist. Y'all heard that, Slipping in the Darkness. And yeah.
Hey, Mike, Currency has some Rick Ross to him that when it's a Currency on the record and you can see that his name is on the record, the beat does have a certain vibe and a certain bounce to it.
Yeah, man. You got people like Ross that do that. Currency's a part of that. Slick Rick, of course.
That's Rick.
You know, and even Busta Rhymes in a certain era where, if you had that Calypso vibe, you knew that it was a Busta Rhymes type of thing. But you're right. With Currency, you kind of know what you're going to get in that. One of the other things that I loved your question about the Illmatic and Niggas in Paris thing, too. And
I thought that was the best question that I asked.
Huh?
I thought that was the best question that I asked.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty good question. And
that was a freestyle. I didn't have that written down. That came to me when I was talking to him.
Well, it happens like that sometimes. Sometimes you just got to let the conversations flow and it just goes from there. CJ Kidd with a super chat says the fact that Hit Boy said that he watches and heard of Nas's B-sides by watching A2HH is beautiful. Congrats, guys. That is a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing in hip hop. CJ Kidd also with a super chat says, I think you guys can get a Kenny Parker interview if you reach out. That's a good look, too. Shout out to Kenny Parker. I think I seen Leroy Green. Leroy Green with the $20 super chat says, what's up, A2HH? Congrats on the interview. But I'm going to go back and watch it. But it's me, the A2HH bad guy. But yeah, things like Magic and KD3 come from intention, and they was listening. Now Nas can be great in on his own, but still. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, how would history look if Best of Both Worlds was Jay-Z and Michael Jackson album around 2002? I don't know if Michael does that.
Mike ain't doing that.
He's humongous. LP with the super chat says, much love to y'all. Big moves from the ground up through hard work and integrity. When some thought y'all was tripping because of the approach, y'all kept it. The universe reciprocated that energy. Yeah, man, and y'all stayed with us, man. And that's one thing that not Coop, that Hit Boy said too, man. He's like, he loves that we keep it real. How many platforms are able to say that, right?
Right. So I'm going to tell you some of the other things that stood out to me, and this is just me as the interviewer, like, you know what I'm saying, and hearing how it comes back. When I'm asking him questions about how these records came to be, I can't implore this enough. Relationships matter. Even when he was talking about Quinn, he's like, that's my man. Dom, that's my man.
Yeah.
Nas, no. Nas, no, my man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
No. I know them from then. Oh, no. I know Drake from then. Drake was Surf Club. I'm looking over here like, I'm just sitting over here like,
I've never heard that. Yeah.
I'm like, this is great. I was like, that's the first time I've ever heard that live.
Yeah. A lot of the stuff in the interview was the first time I heard it. You know what I'm saying? Chris, go ahead.
Well, that's what I mean. What Glove taught me is like, no, I need to be digging for the stuff that he hasn't said, not the stuff that he has said.
Correct. Chris with the super chat says, great interview. Salute Mike and Coop. Man, y'all keep it real. See, keeping it real again. Leroy Green with the super chat says, and Mike.
Real a phrase again?
It should be. It should be. We also need to bring sellout back into the lexicon, because now getting the bag is the excuse for selling out. But that's a whole nother diatribe. Leroy Green with the super chat says, and Mike, what Just Blaze said is Michael Jackson recorded to Girls, 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 but no, it was never supposed to be released. I'm checking in Monday. Good, check in Monday. We playing music. And he's talking about the Patreon, by the way. Other question that I really liked that you asked, I think it was, I had it at the tip of my tongue. It wasn't the Illmatic thing. We covered that. It was, when you asked him what was his favorite beat on each album that they've done, that him and Nas have done. And I could tell that KD3 was just full of them. Whereas he was able to quickly go to, individual beats on KD1, KD2, and Magic. Whereas on KD3, I don't know if it's because it's the most recent, but he was able to pick 3.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. The other one was the fact that this album or this pairing started off because Nas wanted to make a Valentine's Day album or something like that.
That's invaluable stuff.
Yeah, I've never heard that.
I've never heard that before. But then you go to the records and it's like, little heartbreak hotel going on.
Yeah, because he said the record with Anderson .Paak was first, right? That was the first record they made.
Isn't that crazy? Wasn't that one of the records that we talked about when the album first came out?
I think it was the record we talked about.
Yeah, it's like keep that. Keep that record.
Yeah.
So the first time that they hit because that record was one of the better records on that project, correct?
Yep. And those are the things that I like to kind of guesstimate. I used to do it more so back in the day as opposed to today, because today albums come together so quickly. But I always used to wonder, like, what's the first song, recorded on this album?
Yeah.
And we got those answers today for at least two of them. Now, I don't think he said anything about, Magic and KD3, but Death Row East was the first one recorded on KD2, and Replace Me was the first one recorded on KD1, correct?
Correct. And also, too, it was a Hit Boy interview, so I wanted to be mindful about not making it about 3 years with Nas.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I kind of, and even with the Death Row East thing, well, I kind of knew that because Mike kind of been researching Death Row East already, so kind of already knew that. So kind of wanted to add something I could get in and out on kind of quick to cover all of the KD and to cover the Nas segment of his career, which I think is the tipping point for him and the victory lap for Nas. It's like Hit Boy's tipping point is Nas's victory lap. Is their pairing? I think that's part of what makes it so special too. Is that he slides Hit into the top 10, but Hit like confirms his number one status. That's what this union is bought in the macro, like in my opinion. But I didn't want to make it about Hit and Nas. It needed to be about Hit. You know what I'm saying? So going too far into, because I mean, Mike, I wanted to do a whole Magic dig production wise, just in terms of how different the Magic production is right in between KD2 and KD3. I wanted to talk about the difference in the beats from KD1 to Benny's Burden of Proof a little bit more too, but that would have made the conversation more King's Disease centered than Hit Boy centered. So I kind of wanted to like bounce in and out like on the Nas stuff, but I would like the opportunity. That's why I was like, man, I can sit here another hour because I didn't go deep.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like with some stuff, I went deep here and there. But you know what I mean? It's kind of like, sometimes when you're having fun swimming, Mike, it's like you like to go to the deep end of the pool just so you know you can go, but then you go back to the light side where it's easy. I kind of did that on this interview a lot. I went to the deep side, but I mostly kept it on the light side. I just went to the deep side a couple times.
I didn't know that story about Polo the Don either. I didn't realize that Polo the Don was like the first to really give Hit Boy a shot.
I did because when I did my research, I saw the Zone 4 imprint. I was like, he was signed the Zone 4 imprint. I was like, how bad? I'm like, that's Polo shit. I'm like, that's ATL. I'm like, that's around here.
Right. And so I didn't realize that, he reached out to Polo on MySpace. And the record that got him to do that was London Bridges by Fergie.
I knew about the Zone 4 thing. I think when I was doing my dig, it said that they met online. It didn't say MySpace. But the whole London Bridges thing, that's what I mean about the invaluable stuff when you ask the right question. It's like, the person that you're interviewing is who takes it deeper, depending on how comfortable they are with you and if they like the question to go deeper.
Yeah,
so it's
definitely.
Right. So the whole London Bridges thing, I was like, that was a whole thing. I'm thinking that's the one. And then I'm thinking about it. I'm like, no, that's a banger. And think about who Hit is early on. Bangers.
I learned that when I did my interview with Kwame. It's like, and shout out to Kwame because he taught me a lot as far as interviewing too. It's like they give you things. A great interviewee, I'll put it that way, gives the interviewer stuff that you can't even research. You can kind of just start the conversation, but then once they start going and start talking about some things that aren't even out there that you can even research, that's invaluable stuff.
So this is what I mean too. It made me smile when he told me how Nas pulled up. Mike, Nas pulled up on some hood shit. That's what you do when you're from the projects, Mike. Like that's how it used to be. Like when we would like somebody's stuff. That's how everybody, and I know this, that's how everybody pulled up on my cousin Six. Yeah. Because it'd be like, oh no, I like what you doing. I'll be back. And everybody just kept on coming back. And before you know it, it's a whole crew. Because everybody keeps coming back. Everybody's not coming back about each other. Everybody's coming back about the producer, about the engineer, about the team that's putting it together. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so it's like when he's telling me how Nas is pulling up, I'm like, that's that hood shit. It's like, no, I like what he's doing. I'm coming back. We're going to bring,
Like you said, man, Nas loves the music and is having fun with the music. And to pull up every day, you having fun.
That's that neighborhood thing. Like that's that neighborhood shit. You know what I'm saying?
And with all the stuff that Nas has going on, obviously there's nothing else he'd rather be doing than making music.
I don't think the way Hit described it, I don't think Nas was hitting him up like, you got a 4-hour block time available today. You feel me?
Yeah.
I don't feel like it happened like that. I feel like it happened like on some what up.
Yep.
Right.
CJ Kid with the super chat says, also, Coop, wanted to apologize for the twin/deep cover question last time. I did
Very
not think you
disrespectful.
would be so flabbergasted and spaz on it like that. At least it led me to one of the funniest A2HH moments.
It was disrespectful.
88 Speaks with the super chat, $20 super chat, showing love. He says, Hit Boy looked genuinely happy to do this interview. Shout out to A2HH, Mike D, and the Bull Coop. Congrats. Appreciate the love, man. People showing love today. It's a big day, big day.
Big day.
Get some more super chats.
3 year think about it. In 3 years, Mike, we were able to get arguably the greatest producer of his era to pull up on us and say what's up.
I'm looking forward to hearing what him and Benny got going on, man, because everything that I'm hearing from them so far, I've heard 2 songs. It's heat. So I think that might need to be one of those albums that we do a listening party for on Station Head at midnight.
No, I'm all for that. You know, I like the fact that he I don't know if you notice, it's like he talked about the Benny project, but he kind of kept it under wraps a little bit. And I like that he did that too. That means it feels like he got some heat.
Yeah.
Right. Because when I asked him about it, he didn't, like when producers are excited about something, they'll usually fade you one or two ways. They'll either say too much or they'll say too little.
He's going to let the music speak on this one, I could tell.
Yeah.
You know what? I mean, anything else you want to say about it before we move on? Tell people where to go check it out for the moment.
No.
Okay.
I mean, people. As far as checking out the interview, I don't have anything else to add as far as like the insights that I took away from the interview because I haven't had a chance to watch it and pull back. So this is me just like still toggling down my mind and still like fresh off of it, kind of like recalling it to you. Those are the things that kind of stood out. Like there were other things that we could have delved into. I like that he cleared up the Quentin Miller thing on our channel.
Yeah.
For our listeners who were still pulling up, asking questions about it.
He said, man, you can't write for somebody like Nas. Like,
we all knew this, Mike. I've said this repeatedly. You've said this repeatedly. Some people have still pulled up in the chat and said things. So I'm glad that we kind of like settled that. As far as right now, you can catch the interview on Coop is Problematic on YouTube, on Mirror Music 99 on YouTube. We are going to put the version back up on According to Hip Hop as well for full viewership shortly.
Yeah. Trying to, get subs up for those other channels as well so we can, build a strong collective. What I was going to get to, you want to talk about this Birdman thing or... Oh,
we need to.
Hold on. Before we talk about the Birdman thing, I have some data that I want to display. So, after our conversation the other day, we want to we're putting out basically a roadmap, right? And these discussions for this top 50 hip-hop songs of all time. But without the people's input, we can't do a list. So some of the things that we discussed and some of the controversial discussions, we need to put a poll out there.
Hold on, Mike. Are we making some changes right now? Because if so, I need to pull my list.
No. I just want to go. We can do that in a second. I just wanted to briefly go through a couple of polls that I put up. So,
okay.
First one was, how do you think the hip hop top 50 greatest songs of all time should be chosen? Picking the best moments / important songs in hip hop, or picking the best the best / most important songs from hip hop's best artists. And with like 400 votes, 95% of the people say the songs. 5% said picking the best moments from the best artists. And the other one was which song deserves to be top 50 the most. Between these two songs, High and Back That Ass Up. Because I thought that's an interesting discussion. 30% said High, 70% said back that ass up. And that's 407 votes.
See, but that's about the legs.
Yeah. Legs matter too. I don't know. It's like, do the legs matter more than, I guess, the moment? Because in the moment, how's that record? I think that's one
Right.
of those situations where there's a good case for both.
Well, that's why I was telling you behind the scenes, I'm actually cool with both of those records making the top 50 because here's the thing about it. Like, it's very, very clear to me. There's a reason How was the first single, Mike. There's a reason.
You're right.
And when it's like, and when you're choosing an all-time great album to pick from, the singles, there's usually a reason why.
I don't think anybody would disagree that High being the first single was the right choice. And, you know, just like how I talk about Jimmy Iovine saying that, you know, well, after hearing the whole 2001 album and still saying, you know what, we got one more, we don't have the single. I think that choosing High over Back That Ass Up for 400 Degrees goes up there with that brilliant type of thinking because, I mean, High is the single, but Back That Ass Up would have worked if it was first too. You know what I'm saying? But High is the introduction. It's the moment. It's the song that I remember when it came out. I was like in high school. People were like, have you heard that song where dude is just using one word? And see, that's revisionist history too, because people don't remember after Juvenile did that, you had a whole bunch of people going out there trying to make records that were just based on one word. You know what I'm saying? And repeating that one word. How it became a thing. So I know that the legs are probably what's factoring into why this is such a lopsided poll. And if one song had to be chosen and not both, I still say Back That Ass Up. But I think there's a case for both. Do you think High might just be top 100 and not 50?
I mean, didn't Cash Money change the complexion of the South?
It did. But do you think that if Back That Ass Up never came along, that change would have continued on? Because I think High broke down that door, but I think Back That Ass Up kept the door open. Is that fair to say?
I don't know how to qualify that. And I'm going to tell you how I don't know how to qualify that is because we didn't just get High and Back That Ass Up. We got Cash Money as an Army and Bling Bling right after it, too.
We did.
Like, right after.
Yeah, we did.
It was not let up. It was foot on neck type of situation.
Yeah, it was back to back to back.
And by the time Bling Bling had like got done, I felt like The Block Is Hot, Project Chick, and Number One Stunner had all popped up by the time Bling Bling was done, Mike.
Yeah, it was year after year after year. And we're about to talk about Birdman as a CEO. Now, the last poll that I put up there, I think I got a poll on Twitter. I'm going to check too before we move on. You said that Lose Yourself was a better song than Summertime. So I figured I would ask the people. Yeah.
No, I was wrong about that. I was just really pushing buttons. I was just, I needed something to do. It seemed like the fun thing to do.
Well, you don't want to know the results then, I guess.
It's like 99-1 probably.
74% to 26. You know,
Okay.
with 800 votes. Not too bad.
Probably got the most votes though. That's crazy.
It was another one. Yeah, that one did. I put up something on Twitter because I thought this was an interesting take, an interesting discussion too. Probably didn't get as many. This is Twitter. We got like 38 votes here. So I was like, which song deserves to be top 50? Had Let Me See It, Space Age Pimpin', Back That Ass Up, and Get Low. Back That Ass Up was number 1, 66%. Space Age Pimpin' number 2 at 21%. Get Low at 10%. And Let Me See It with 3%.
I don't agree, but I rock with the people. You know what I'm saying?
I find these things interesting. I always want to go back and see what the people are thinking. I know I'm going to lose that because I want to put out a poll with the whole Made You Look and If I Ruled the World. I'm pretty sure If I Ruled the World is going to get that spot. Although my gut says Made You Look, but it's hard to really quantify that. And like I said, it's hard for me to really qualify why I picked Bombs over Bad Dad too. If somebody said that should be removed, I couldn't disagree. I just picked Bombs over Bad Dad because I think it's one of the 50 best hip hop songs ever made.
And I agree with that.
I just don't have any qualifiable or quantifiable data to really prove that.
And that's what the problem is.
Yeah. And if it has to go because of that, I'm okay with that.
You know what I thought about too, Mike? And I brought up Players Ball, and I was thinking to myself afterwards, I was like, am I even sure it's Players Ball? Is it Elevators?
Huh.
That crossed my mind too, because Players Ball might be more of a Southern moment than a hip hop moment overall. Because Elevators is kind of their hip hop moment, isn't it?
I think so. I think so, and that's just my opinion. Obviously, their biggest moment is Miss Jackson. I just don't think that. I don't know, man. I think I just got tired of Miss Jackson. It's hard for me to say it's not a great enough song, but you look at the subject matter, you look at the approach, you look at the originality. It checks all the boxes. It's a successful record. It's just not. It's kind of like If I Ruled the World for me. Like, it checks all the boxes, but I'm just not a huge fan of it. But that doesn't keep it off the list. It just is what it is.
Here's the thing about it. We're clear that Stankonia is Outkast's fourth best album out of the four group albums. It's the fourth out of the fourth.
Yeah. But we're also clear that it's the most successful album as a group.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is because three of their best singles are Bombs Over Baghdad, Miss Jackson, and So Fresh, So Clean.
I feel like Miss Jackson, once you name those, Miss Jackson is the one that sold that album.
And you might be right about that. But I think this is our problem with Miss Jackson. Well, first of all, it's not better than the two singles around it, which was the point that I was about to make. It might have been bigger, but nobody thinks that So Fresh, So Clean and Bombs Over Baghdad is inferior to Miss Jackson. Like, nobody thinks that.
I sure don't.
And then you couple that with the fact that Spaghetti Junction is on the album. Gangsta Shit's on the album. What's the joint? The Humble Mumble joint.
Mumble.
You know what I'm saying? It makes
Slum
you wonder.
Beautiful.
It makes you wonder. It's like, shit, is Miss Jackson even a top 5 song on their fourth best album? How can that be top 50? That's the problem with Miss Jackson.
That's the problem I had, and I think I told you this in our previous episode when somebody had Rosa Parks on the list. Brilliant song, but it might not even be top 5 on this album. Now, how do you feel about a consideration of a song like Spodio di Dopalicious? Even though they didn't put out a music video for it, its impact clearly rings on.
No, I mean, bands are still playing it in high school.
I mean, Hollywood Cole, Hollywood Cole, or Hollywood Court is what he said, but you know.
Mm-hmm. No. It's the stuff legends are made of.
Yeah.
Much like Cold Blooded by Rick James, Mike, there's no music video, so.
I would still go You Don't Know over that if I had to pick a record that didn't get released officially, but the streets took it on. But, you know. Mad Max in the Super Chat said, Birdman is hip-hop's greatest CEO. I hope you know that. Okay, let's get into that. Birdman, you know what? Let me just pull it up. We live. That's what we do best, man. We give people news quickly. This actually was a post yesterday from Birdman. Birdman's responding to all of these lists that Billboard put out. Guess he took down the post. Let me go to our post then. Let's see. All right. So Birdman responds to Billboard by saying, Billboard, I see that y'all did the 10 best rappers. Well, they really did 50, but I feel it. Which is well respected. But what about the CEOs who made the way for the rappers to be superstars and fought the battles behind the doors so that they can be superstars and put some respect on my name and stop playing with me. I'm the best to ever do it. Nothing but love for all the CEOs ever in the 50 years of hip hop. We held it down. Cash Money, Rich Gang, Stunner Man, the best ever. Hashtag the Goat Maker. I do it. I do it for Miss Gladys. You think Birdman's the greatest CEO in hip hop history?
I say this respectfully, Mike. I don't even think he's the best CEO in his state.
Why would you put? You're speaking about Master P, correct?
Of course.
Why would you put Master P ahead of Birdman as a music? Let's bring this down to music because this Billboard thing is a music thing. In music, how would you quantify Master P being over Birdman in this category?
From a music standpoint?
Yeah, what they've done in the music business, because I think that's what Birdman's trying to translate. Now, if we talk about just CEO in general, yeah, but
I was about to say, okay, now if you're talking that type of CEO, even though what I feel like Master P did was special musically, I don't think quality-wise he stands next to Cash Money, mostly because I believe they are coupling the Young Money part of Cash Money into that. So when you have that three-headed hit monster of Wayne, Drake, and Nicki, you have a lot. And then you have the first run with Juve and BG and Turk and Wayne, Hot Boys, Manny, and you've got some stuff sprinkled in between like Lloyd and all that. Like, so it's a lot. So musically, I get what they were saying. But
hold on. Let me also give him this too. You got NBA Youngboy, you got Young Thug, and you also got NLE Chopper and stuff too.
Right. No. Yeah. So if you want to say that, I could give that some credence. But if that were the case, then I would probably lean the way of and not just like one, but I mean, if I'm going to sit up there today, it's fun. Mike, it's funny. Like, I recorded the only album that I ever put out on the West Coast. It's funny how like this shit keeps coming back west for me. Mike, Dr. Dre technically, was one of the bosses of Death Row and of Aftermath. And so if that was the case, if that's the metric that they're going on, then give me Dre, because Dre gave me Easy and Snoop and Ice Cube and 50 and M and Game. And him and Glove did Phone Tap. They did the Firm album. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if that's the metric that they're going off of, well, give me the guy that gave us, rap's biggest superstar and the longest lineage of stars that we've ever seen come out of one, proverbial guy's camp, because he's technically been in CEO position since Death Row was founded.
I will give Dre, obviously, Snoop Dogg, the biggest star that I feel like hip hop's ever gotten. I think that Tupac was more of a, mystical, no limit type situation where that was more of a free agent acquisition type of deal. Cube, yeah, I guess, they all came up together. But even if you leave that out, let's just say we got the DOC, you got Snoop. He made Eminem into what he is, and I've said this on the show before. Eminem doesn't work if he's working with somebody other than, Dr. Dre and Aftermath. I just don't see him working to this level under any camp around 97, 98, 99. Like, I just don't see how that works. So I got to give Dr. Dre credit for that. But what Birdman has done is special, and it can't be denied. But at the same time, it's like, okay, are we leaving out the impact of his brother, Slim? You know what I'm saying? Like, so, okay, well, what does Slim do? Like, does Slim do anything here? And so it's hard to really just isolate it to just Birdman, because when you look at it, let's just line Birdman up with Puff, right? Puff ain't really got no business partners to speak of, really. I mean, does he? Like,
No, Mike. Things keep happening to the people he does business with.
and Russ, if we my pick is Russell, honestly. You know what I mean? And I would love to get an interview with Russell. I think it'd be an interesting conversation. I wouldn't talk about any of the other shit with music, right? But we know that Rick Rubin and Russell were partners, but Rick Rubin was more of the producer, and he was more of a partner in the sense, and correct me if I'm wrong, from a creative standpoint, but the business stuff was Russ. And pretty much made an industry out of something that wasn't even an industry yet. And it's mind blowing when you think about the artists that Def Jam had, and then you think about all the artists that were under Russ management. It's like they had the whole rap game. Like Russ management was Eric B. and Rakim. I want to say Chris Lighty came up from that Russ management situation where I think a lot of the native tongue were represented by that agency at that time. And like I said, what Birdman's doing is impressive, but it's hard for me to put him over Russ. But let me put another name out there. How does he fare when you talk about Jay-Z as a CEO? Because we can't ignore Rock Nation, and we can't ignore, Rock Management, all of that stuff, and all of those things that fall under that umbrella.
Can I ask you something?
Mm-hmm.
That's one of those things of like, what type of championship team do you want to build? Because if you really look at it, outside of Rihanna and Kanye, Jay's CEO status isn't stellar.
J. Cole.
Okay, I'll give him Cole too. You're right.
Yeah.
I always look at Cole as like kind of more self-made. Like Cole kind of was like, I feel like Cole was gonna be that for anybody else that would have plugged them into their machine. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I feel what you're saying, and I agree. I think Cole's gonna. I don't know, man, because Cole has a whole lot of fans that I don't know if he would have gotten if he didn't have that Jay-Z connection. You know what I'm saying? Like he was able to connect to fans that may not have connected with his sound otherwise. Like, what's stopping him from really being a little brother out there? And I say that respectfully. I mean, because we're talking about Carolina.
No, I get what you're saying. Underground king.
Mm-hmm. Like, he could easily take up that space and kind of be viewed as a Big Crit or something, because Big Crit's self-made too. Incredibly talented. Was on Def Jam and everything. Has the image, has the fan base, but I truly believe if Crit was with Rock Nation, things would be a little different for him.
You might have a point.
AB Studio with the super chat says MJ was actually on Girls, Girls, Girls remix, Ye's version. He was the background vocalist with Shantae Moore. Yes, Michael Jackson sang over a Kanye beat in '01 with Shantae Moore. What an interesting pairing. LP with the super chat says Baby had a bunch of teens signed them and saw most of them get strung out on drugs. He's taken from almost every artist he did business with. I think that's the elephant in the room, and I think it's very tough to be able to make that distinction that you're number one when you have so many disgruntled artists from a financial standpoint. And I think that is that's what kind of puts in many people's mind's eye Master P ahead of him in that way. Because when you think about it, musically, Master P's run with No Limit, man, was that 2 years? I think that was like a 2-year run. Being generous, because we think about it, Ghetto D came out late 90s.
I feel like maybe 3, Mike. We can give him like 98 to 01.
Master P?
No.
All right. So Pac died in 96. It was Yeah,
Right.
Murder in '96.
When did
I know.
TRU come out?
I was gonna say us down here, we were rocking with the TRU album, right?
But yeah,
True
when
to
did
the
TRU
game.
come out?
The
That's
second one.
97?
That had to either be the beginning of '97 or the end of '96. Let me pull that up real quick, just so so we're on our facts. The one with Somebody's Watching Me
Is that
and
No
No
Limit
Limit
Soldiers? That's the
Soldier.
one with No Limit Soldiers on
Yep.
it. Bitch, get your mind right.
Mm-hmm.
We no limit soldiers. I thought I told you we no limit
Let's
soldiers.
see.
Yeah, that was TRU.
Discography.
My man Gary used to just play that all the time in his Blazer. He had this forest green Chevy Blazer, and all he played was TRU and freaking who else was they coming out around the time? C Murder shit.
Mystical.
Mystical's
Silk the
unpredictable.
Shocker. Yeah. All right. So that was
Silk
February
the Shocker is
18th.
what I had a problem with, Mike. Charge It to the Game.
Charge It to the
That
Game
was the
had
one
bangers.
that made me. That's the one that made me angry. I was like, if you don't cut this shit,
You ain't like
off.
Charge It to the Game? That had bangers on it.
Bang what?
Had bangers on it. Let Me Hit It
No,
was
like
on
put on
there.
Mystical's Unpredictable. You can put on that C Murder.
Okay. The TRU album we're talking about came out February 97. Now, granted, we all heard Body Body was fucking with Body Body and all of that from the Mr. Ice Cream Man album, but I think the run.
You talking about the run, not
that
the come up.
that starts in February 97, right? So where does it end? Does it end with The Last Don, you think?
It does, yes.
And you know when The Last Don came out?
What?
June of 1998. We're talking about a year, maybe a year and a half.
It's a lot of projects.
Incredible. It's incredible that he was able to have such an impact in such a
he had a
small
business
window
model,
of time.
He had a business model.
Yes, and even with that, he was able to empower artists to be able to take on their own thing and basically give them the keys and teach them how to fish. You know what I'm saying? And he did some things that other CEOs in hip hop never really did. He spread his independent mentality and knowledge, and I think that for a lot of people, that's why they would put him ahead of somebody like Birdman. Birdman has the longevity, obviously. You know what I'm saying? Like, he still got artists coming up under him now. But even with that 20-something year longevity, all those records sold based on the integrity that, people view Master P with. And obviously some people have their discrepancies. But at large, the integrity that Master P's developed in this game, people have him above Birdman. I think that's probably why you said that initially.
I was about to say, Mike, it's the artist in me that won't leave me that makes me say no to Birdman. It's like, oh no, give me Master P. Like, because I think like an artist does. And it's like, well, if you're thinking the way an artist should, it's like, no, but do you... I'm not being funny when I say that. Do you want your money though? do you want the money that's owed to you?
With all the artists
just not with Master P if you want your money.
With all the artists
listen, whole diss songs have been made about this man business practices. Idols become rivals. We didn't get an album from Wayne for almost 5 years because he was caught up in a legal battle with somebody that he quote unquote calls his father.
Right. No,
very
fair.
Keep that nigga away from me and my artists, far
very
away.
Fair.
I don't care how many times he make billboards. Stay away.
Well, this is the thing too, man. Like, we hear artists all the time, from Mia X to even Snoop Dogg. Now, this is Snoop Dogg saying that all the things that Master P did for them, and the game that he put them on to, and the way that he was thinking that they weren't thinking before. With all the successful artists that Birdman has had over the years, has anybody ever said that Birdman put them on to game and, taught them the game and taught them this, that, and the third? Even Wayne speaks to the things that Jay has done for him.
Okay, so it's like this. How financially well off are his artists from music? because most of their money, for me, at least as far as I'm concerned, comes from their branding and their marketing, the promotion of themselves outside of the musical sphere. And they don't need rap money because they never really had rap money because he took it.
Well, that's the thing too, man. You know,
Next question.
I know just about everybody who watches our show knows, you know, when we start talking about residuals and, you know, ASCAP, BMI, and just what, you know, the publishing end of it, right? Songs that get played or that will be played for the rest of our lives, like the people who composed those songs and made those songs should never have to work a day in their lives again. Manny and Juvenile that came together to make Back That Ass Up that we're going to hear forever. Somebody's probably playing this somewhere right now. Hundreds of people, thousands of people. They should never have to work a day in their lives just based on that song alone. Now, I don't know if that's all Birdman's fault or Universal or whoever initially signed the Cash Money contracts, but what we need to do if we're going to do a list, and if, I mean, we could do a list too, we need to quantify criteria of what makes somebody a great CEO in hip hop. If you know what I'm saying, if it's like that, like you said, how well off are your artists on their works? Because if it becomes one of those things where only one person is winning and that's how, you know, your resume is built, but everybody who you built your resume on isn't really empowered, how does that put you above somebody who might have a little less success, but everybody that they brought up is empowered?
So I'm just going to tell you this, just for me, Mike. This is just a business practice that I've picked up. It's a little plug talk, Mike. Since the plug has taught me about streaming and how to stream properly, that's why you listen to the younger generation. Little plug talk, Mike. I be picking and choosing who I stream. Like if I want to hear somebody's stuff, but I don't like their business, they don't get my stream.
Yeah.
I make sure I eat for free off them. You feel what I'm saying? So I've made it a point now. Oh no, I be streaming Mobb Deep shit.
Yeah.
I stream Jada Kiss's stuff, Big Boy's stuff, Scarface's stuff, because I want the people who deserve to eat to eat. Other people's stuff, I'm keeping downloaded because I don't like the way they do business. And the best way you can affect somebody's business practices is through the money that you choose to put in their pocket as a consumer.
To not
so
do
I'm making
business,
concentrated. So I'm making concentrated efforts over here, and I'm not joking.
Leroy Green with the super chat says the video for High, in my opinion, was about the visuals because people got to see them in the game, but what wasn't a moment that year because everything was fire. He said, but what song wasn't a moment that year because everything was fire? Yeah, that was a special moment though. Jay Short with the super chat says, "Back That Ass Up" had been done before. Baby Got Back, Rump Shaker, etc. High was totally original. When I think New Orleans sound, I think High. Okay. But when I hear Back That Ass Up, I think New Orleans bounce though. It has all those elements.
See, I feel both of them have different elements of
Yeah.
the New Orleans bounce in different ways.
Yeah.
You know, like how about this? Ha has the type of bounce that Meet Joe Black has. You know what I'm saying? No, it's got bounce. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I guess I'm talking New Orleans bounce, like that stuff that you hear like on those breaks. Yeah.
Yeah, and I hear you, but it's like, Mike, I mean, Outkast's best song ain't no Booty Shake.
Bounds over bad day? No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, it's very close to being Booty Shake. The rag top is Booty Shake.
Yeah.
Mike
Mike H with the super chat says Bonds of a Bad Dad better than Black Steel in an Hour of Chaos. Respectfully, Mike. Listen, you know, people like Public Enemy, and y'all know how I feel about Public Enemy. They legit could have 4 songs that could be top 50 all time. I'm just trying to spread the love, man. Like I'm really trying to just spread the love. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, "Is Southern Player listed Cadillac Music top 50? The song, I don't think so. And not saying anything to indict that song, and I love that song. I think it's the strongest hook on that incredible album. But it's just a lot of great songs out there, man. Like it just is. Mad Max with the super chat says, if Outkast is getting a song, it's International Players Anthem is the one. And The Way You Move is my personal favorite, but that's because Big Boy is and has always been better than Dre. Okay. You know what? International Players Anthem, I'm not mad if somebody says that's a top 50 all time, because you know what? That knocks out the UGK, that knocks out the cast, and it also makes it a little bit more current because it's not ancient stuff either. So
I'm cool with it. It's just, I guess.
It's not my personal favorite from either.
No, here's my problem with the song. You know what people do? They make that song all about Andre's verse.
They do. It's true.
And that's why people like the song so much, because they like him so much. And I'm sick of the South. I'm sick of the South playing a backseat to him. Musically speaking, it's not fair. It's not fair for Pimp C and Big Boy and Bun B and Scarface and CeeLo and Gibb to have to play a backseat. It's not. It's just musically speaking. I'm gonna say this again. Have met him and talked to him multiple times. One of the, if not the, Mike, he is literally one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. Like, period. Like, damn some rapper stuff, like, in life. Yeah. One of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Got nothing to do with the music of this catalog. It's not fair. It's not right. That song gets held high for the same reason that he gets held high. That Haley's comment of a verse that he'll give you. But can he give you an album with Haley's comments verses? And stop deifying the songs and stop deifying the man. So tired of it. I'm not putting it on my list. I'm not putting it on my list because if you put it on the list, you know all everybody's going to talk about when you list the song. Andre 3000 scene stealing verse on UGK.
To me, man,
that's how the media write it. That's how the media writes it, just like that.
You're right. I love Dre and big inspiration, right? And when that song dropped, I was like, okay, that's Dre. Because I think a lot of the times, like you said, we kind of blow up any of his features, even if they're lackluster, like the Walk It Out one. Like, that verse not as good as people try to make it seem, right? But when I heard that one, I'm like, okay, that's Dre. But to me, and just my experiences, that song don't really start till Pimp C come in. When that beat drops, and I mean, I just saw, somebody with a TikTok today, they do that song, but it's when Pimp C comes in, when that beat comes in. My bitch a choosy, never, yeah, that's when the song starts. Mad Max to the super chat says, Birdman, Wayne, Drake, Nicki, BG, etc. Then brought Thug and Rich Homie. Forgot about Rich Homie. Young NBA Youngboy. Stop playing with Birdman. Baby is the only guy on his level. He said, baby, only guy on his level is Diddy. Between the two, again, I'm going Russ. I'm going Russell. And where do people like, dare I say Leor Cohen, or dare I say Steve Rifkin? Where do those people fit in this equation? Loud Records is important now. We can't front on Loud Records.
Loud is important.
Leroy just said it too. Before I even said it, he said, I got to speak on Steve Rifkin and Loud Records. Yeah.
I mean, Loud gave us Mobb Deep and Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah. And Terror Squad. And Big Pun for the Big Pun fans out there. Fat Joe.
It's pretty big.
Loud Records is important. Mad Max with the super chat says, Mike, I'll give you that Russell is the GOAT. You convinced me, I'll say this. If 50 listened to Yayo and signed J. Cole and Nicki, the answer would be 50. How do you think of... Yeah, I didn't even think about 50. Where does 50 line up in this equation?
See, okay, so this is what I mean about how I would tell you that it's Dre because Dre exists, Mike. Well, Ice Cube exists. So because Ice Cube exists, a whole entertainment company for blacks exists. A whole league for blacks exists. Okay? On top of that, WC and Mac 10 exist, and so do their respective camps and cliques. Okay? That's just Ice Cube. The entire 3 times that I talked to Glove, Mike, the time that he lit up the most was when he briefly talked about Easy. Dr. Dre is responsible for making Eazy-E a star too. Glove lit up the most about Easy. He's like, nah, Coop, Easy's like he was so quick with it. It was boom, boom, bam. Easy, Mike.
Hold on. Do you think that's the case, or do you think Easy gave, Dre and
I think
Cube
Easy
the
knew Dre was a
platform?
star would make him a bigger star. Like Easy probably knew he was neighborhood star. He's like, but with this nigga's beats, I can be a superstar, like
Because
nationwide.
because
Yeah, I think that's what Easy seen. Easy seen. How about this? The way Dre seen the star in Glove is the way Easy seen the star in Dre. But Easy shit not popping off like Boys in the Hood don't sound like that. What up? Come on.
well, what I was gonna say though, Easy identifies talent, and you could tell
Oh, that's
Easy.
Dre. Where you
No,
think he
they
get it
both do.
from?
They both do. But I'm just saying, like, you could even look at Easy's resume after the split. You got Bone Thugs and Harmony here. You got the
Mm-hmm.
Black Eyed Peas that he signed before
Mm-hmm.
he passed
Mm-hmm.
away. And
Mm-hmm.
so who knows who else he would have signed. And
But
I
Easy,
think that
but
he identified the talent in Dre and Cube early as well. I don't know. I think both of them are great at finding talent. It's hard to quantify who made who. You know what I mean? I think they
let's
kind of
let's
made each other.
let's say they made each other.
Yeah. But Dre was
But
just able to continue on.
well, hey, there's a reason Easy does its double platinum, and it ain't
And
because Easy's the best, and it's not because Easy-E is Ice Cube on the mic.
it's funny how things go full circle though when you think about the fact that Easy E signed Black Eyed Peas and Will I Am in his relationship towards being the creator of the Beats by Dre, and you know what I'm saying, how those things kind of come full circle because yeah, I mean from what I understand, I could be wrong. Will I Am's the one that brought the headphone idea to Jimmy Iovine, and they knew that Dre would be the perfect face for it because Dre's sound, engineering, and all of those things, and the fact that that guy comes from the lineage that Eazy-E actually put him on initially. It's funny how those things come full circle.
It does, but okay. So here's what I will tell you: in the hip hop sphere of things, the producer can only help accentuate the star that the MC already is. So let's say
Right.
let's put Dre and Cube and Easy all on the table together on fair ground.
hmm
Their jump off is Dre's production, has artists, has MCs.
I mean, it's like the High conversation we just had. Like, as important as Juvenile was for High,
Not Manny.
Manny is
Right.
the most important piece of that,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So Dre's got Easy. And so Easy's Black Eyed Peas and Bone. Ice Cube is Cube Vision and the Big Three League and West Side Connection. Okay? And then it's Snoop and the Dog Pound, Mike, Glove, 50, G Unit, Game, Busta Rhymes, Eve,
Eminem.
The Firm. I mean, Mike, whether you hate it or love it, Mike, Eminem, and specifically
That's
with
the big
Eminem and
joker
50,
right there.
when you look at how Eminem and 50's teams have eaten, like Game is literally was talking about how he was still spending G Unit money because 50 was making $1 million a show, keeping 500 grand for him, but breaking the other 500 up between the other 4 members. So they making 125 G's a show off 50. That's that shit that M taught him. That's that shit that Dre taught him. That's why, even though Glove and Dre at time have had some grievances, No, it always going to come back around because Dre has made sure that people are taken care of. And if you look at the people that have come after him, they're doing okay financially. They're not fucked up somewhere. Like, they're all well-to-do. They don't have to fucking rap.
You're right. And 50 even acknowledged it in a recent interview, is the fact that it all starts with Dre. You know what I'm saying? Like, he said he knows the pecking order, what did he say? The hierarchy. You know what I'm saying? It's Eminem and it's Dre. And Dre is above it all. So if you want to put Dre at number one in a conversation like this, I'm not mad at that, man.
Did you hear what Glove said about even how Deep Cover got made? I'm like, did he make the beat, Glove? And he like, well, he passed me the credit card and we went and bought the Clevenger. And I'm like, no, you need that nigga. You need that nigga. Because guess what? When the beat needed to get made, I ain't never handed my credit card over to my cousin Six. Ever. It was always Six that went to the fucking shit and got the shit that needed to be got for the studio. And that's why he's the boss, and that's why he's at the head of our collective. Yeah.
I can see that. Only person I'll put ahead of him based on what you just said is still Russ, but that's it. And even with that, you
can't do it because of Snoop, M, and 50 though.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
Much. It's too much.
LL. But see, the thing is, man, and I know everybody has some sort of help. The people who initially signed those acts, that's on Rick, because from what I understand, MCA is the one that gave LL the call to come in. From what I understand also is Public Enemy was Rick Rubin's finding. Slick Rick too. And the Beastie Boys obviously is Rick Rubin's people too. So
well, that was my thing with Russ, has always been more Rick Rubin than trying to knock Russ. It's like, how about this? Russ was more like, you need ice to make the drink cold. You know what I'm saying? He the ice in the drink. I didn't know if he was necessarily the drink. I think Rick was a lot of the drink.
I think Rick was the producer. He was the music guy, the creator.
It's hard to beat that guy. You can't beat that guy.
Well, I think there's business work that has to be done that's done behind the scenes to kind of like what Birdman's speaking to. Like a lot of that stuff that doesn't involve the actual music itself. There's somebody back there fighting those battles. And in Dre's situation is Jimmy. You know what I'm saying? But Dre's, man, his catalog is just crazy.
It's too much.
Yeah.
It's too many people, man.
It is, all the way down to K-Dot. Mad Max of the Super Chat says, and if 50 had signed J. Cole, he might have got K-Dot because Cole was going to sign K-Dot before TDE. That would have been G-Unit remix for the new generation, K-Dot, Cole, and Kendrick. I'm sorry. I think things were already going to be planned out the way they were going to go. I think it was already lined up for Kendrick to go to Drake. There's nowhere else to go.
This is part of the Hit Boy interview that I didn't get to. And this is what I mean about I had to pick and choose picking. The plug hit me up and was like, yo, they was like, you was looking over during the thing. I was like, that's because I had so many questions. So I'm going to tell you like some of the questions that I had off to the side, Mike. After Backseat Freestyle, I had a whole set of questions about Kendrick and about if Kendrick's gotten any other beats from him, because he sure as hell needs them right now. And I wanted to talk about it.
He said they did some records together back then, right?
You talking about back then, I'm talking about now.
You talking about now? Okay, yeah. He said they recorded like 6 songs together or something, right?
Need to help this nigga now. It's really some of the questions I wanted to ask. But then I was like, no, Coop, you're doing an interview. You're not going to pull up and be shady during the interview.
No,
and so I left all those questions alone because I was like, these questions are going to seem shady if I make it seem like the Kendrick needs a Hit Boy beat. You need a Hit Boy beat.
CJ Kid with the super chat says...
at least 5. Fast. He's in Fontana. And I'm pretty certain that the studio's probably in LA now. It's not hard to get a hold of Hit, apparently. Did you hear what he said about music? He's like, no, music pulled up because he liked what I was doing with Nas. Hello, Kendrick. Hello.
Kendrick's doing his own thing. CJ Kid with the super chat says, what is Snoop's second best album in your opinion? Rhythm and Gangsta to me.
I'm starting to think it's the Blue Carpet Treatment.
Okay. Jay Short with the super chat says the Hot Boys are my all-time favorite group. I can't believe you said that, Jay Short. That's what's up. And I get the quality argument, but they'd give Cash Money a good 20 for verses. Mike, you
But good
forgetting
20, yes,
about
but that's due to volume.
yeah. Said Mike, you're forgetting about how you love that down for my niggas, hootie hoo, etc. Okay,
No, down for
I
my niggas. Shit.
Down for My Niggas came out early, early. That was on the C Murder
That's right.
project, and then it caught steam. I feel like late, cause I remember we used to play that like in like the band room and all that stuff way before it blew up. I think Hootie Hoo is like kind of the end. I liked Hootie Hoo, but
I
again,
don't.
you
Straight
know,
Outcast Jack.
I
I
know
don't like
you
it.
know why I don't like it. I mean, I can't front on it and say the song was just totally whack or anything, but it was an Outcast Jack. We all knew that, and it just didn't feel like No Limit to me at that point. You could tell Beats by the Pound were either on their way out or gone, and I think that's one. We're gonna talk about Master P and all of the great things that he's done with artists. I think that was the one underestimation, excuse me, of his career was kind of taking Beats by the Pound for granted because what they brought to No Limit was important. And when they were no longer in the fold, No Limit was never the same. You can't just go out and get, whatever producer. Esquire with the super
Production
chat
matters.
says, as a MS native, is that Mississippi? And a huge Crit fan. His issue is that Mississippi don't support him in a massive way that it should be. And his artistic identity is tied to UGK, 3-6, A-Ball, MJG,
I
who
think
are
that's
all
just,
underrated in the grand scheme. What do you think that that's what it is, or
I think his problem is that his style is too rooted in other people that stylistically came before him that did it better.
that
Didn't
was
add
always my
anything to
thing?
stack upon it.
That was always my thing too, and for me it was difficult to get into Crit, even though I know he was doing good work, because a lot of the stuff that
No, I like Crit.
yeah, me too. A lot of the stuff that I was hearing him do was stuff that I grew up on and I heard other people do. And like you said, it connected with me on a different level. So no matter what he's doing, even though it might be new to another generation, I appreciate him keeping the sound going.
Yep.
But it prohibited me from really getting into him in the way that I could have if he would have just been like, his own, I don't want to say his own original self, because that's probably him too. But yeah, why Esquire, I want to know, why do you think Mississippi didn't support him? And
No, that's why, because people have just done it better. That's all. Like, there's nothing wrong with Crit. It's like this, man. Like, this is what I mean. That's why I don't like International Players Anthem like that, though. It's like, no, Mike, Pimp C is a 5 for 5. Bum B's a 5 for 5. Big Boy 5 out of 5. Like, these high levels. Like, when you take in their stuff, it's like you need to be a 5 out of 5. And he's not a 5 out of 5. He's a 4 out of 5. And there's nothing wrong with being a 4 out of 5. It's just the guys that came before you were 5 out of 5.
I think
That's
the
just
thing
it.
is too, in hip hop we're always innovating and we're always doing something new. We don't really deal with, and I say this respectfully, it's gonna come off, disrespectful. We don't really deal with retreads in hip hop too well, right? Like we just saw somebody in the super chat, I think it was Jay Short, saying, back that ass up. It been done before. Baby got back, rump shaker, whatever. We don't deal with retreads well, so when you go out there with an approach that sounds very, very similar to something. I mean, when I first heard country shit, I was like, who is this trying to sound like Pimp C? That's what I said, like when I first heard Crit. And it's hard to believe that.
I fuck with Crit.
Yeah,
I
me
met
too.
Crit in Smyrna one time.
No, he's great. It's
Nice
hard to
dude.
believe, though, that other people weren't thinking the same thing, And when you sound like somebody in hip hop,
Here, I'm gonna tell you what. Here's
it's
exactly
hard.
how I feel, and I can sum it up like this. Well, Mike, when I want to hear "Riding Dirty"
yeah,
or "Coming Out Hard" or "AT Aliens," you know what I do?
me too.
I put it on,
Yeah,
And that's
I
my
don't look
thing
for
with Crit. And so I
somebody.
think he has a pocket to keep certain things alive, but it's like, no, give me AT aliens, give me coming out hard, give me riding dirty.
But you know what? In his defense, I think in the 2010s, a lot of artists were suffering, or a lot of young artists were trying to listen to the older generation saying that, man, what happened to music? Or we need such and such back, or we need somebody to do this again, or whatever. And when you got a group like Outkast that is inactive, they're not making any new music. UGK, Pimp C's gone, right? And 8
Right.
Ball and MJG have kind of moved on to different sounds. A young person could feel like, you know what? It's my responsibility to keep this going. And it's not gonna be good for you, man. Like, same thing happened, I think, to Joey Badass, Corday. It's like you're trying to please um, a demographic that's not gonna accept what you're doing anyway because they're gonna compare it to the old stuff, and you're never gonna be able to beat the old stuff to them. Mo Better Code with the super chat says Def Jam fumbled the bag with Crit. They didn't realize the type of magic that man was bringing to them with quality Southern gems in his music. Okay.
I'll tell you what.
What do y'all think Def Jam should have done? What do you think Def Jam should have done? I mean, we've already spoken our piece on it.
I think you want to know what too, and it seems like that was around the time where the lane narrowed in hip hop a little bit, and they were only like letting a couple of people in or become superstars too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like no, not everybody's allowed to become a superstar anymore, no matter how good or bad you are. We picked these 2, 3, 4 guys. We're rolling with them. You're out.
I think the industry was like, okay, let's see if Crit and Wale, or let's see what they'll do, right? I think they had an opportunity at that Cole, Kendrick, and Drake, like you said, line up as well. I think ASAP kind of snuck in the game. Now, he's one of the guys that had a real core following, and I don't think they really wanted ASAP here. The people brought ASAP here. But I think that Crit and Wale got that opportunity as well, and you're right. They were narrowing the playing field. It's like, okay, well, let's see. MC with a super chat says, best unofficial duos. Ghost and Ray, Nas and AZ, Snoop and Dre. And I'm going to add Jada and Styles to your super chat as well. Percy Miller. Is this Master P?
That is Percy.
With the super chat. Says, in my opinion, Tupac is rap's biggest star. Your favorite rapper is or was influenced by Tupac. Snoop said that Pac taught him how to be a superstar.
That sounds like P talking.
Took him out the hood. Took him out the hood image. No other artist shine brighter next to Tupac. Now, you know what? If you want to bring Tupac in this conversation, you win that one. If you want to say Tupac's the biggest star than Snoop, I'm fine with that. He was in 1996, not in 1993.
He was pretty much from 94 to 96.
Yeah. He was in 95, 96, I know. But 93,
94 is debatable. 94 is debatable.
94
95, 96. He didn't get, the opportunity to become into the full-fledged star that Snoop became. But I told you, Mike, I don't even think Tupac wouldn't even be rapping, Mike. He's going to be a big movie star.
Oh, yeah. Tupac would be doing movies right now.
Big movie star. He would probably have an Academy Award by now.
Maybe. But you know how they are. Yeah. I like to say Academy Award worthy because, it's all politics.
So how about this?
There.
So when I say Snoop is rap's first superstar, didn't he become a superstar before Pac, even though they kind of popped up at the same time? Because Deep Cover and Brenda's Got a Baby is same year, I believe.
Mm-hmm. No, Snoop was bigger than Pac.
What's the bigger record? What's the better song?
I mean, we know that.
Okay.
Michael Williams with the super chat says, is it outlandish to think that Tupac could have possibly win in a 3-on-1 versus against Big, Nas, and Jay? I think that he has the range to go against all three at once. He does. I think that to do a versus like that, though, it may be more detrimental to the people who got to split their catalog, though. Percy Miller with another super chat says Pac was phenomenal. He was a movie star, rap star, activist, fashion icon. How many rappers took the image or claimed to be the new Tupac? That's real. Listen, I can't debate that. We got to get onto this MC list. Leroy Green with the super chat says Dr. Dre is great, but in my opinion, Snoop carried that shit. As an artist, yes, but the production matters. The production matters. Appreciate the $20 super chat from CJ the Kid. He said, Coop, if 3000's on a song with Face, he would steal the scene so easy. The way that the media portrays it, Dre and Face are the Jay-Z and Nas of the South, which means people will be hard-pressed to say that Dre made Face Mob take a back seat. What do you think about that notion that if Face and Andre are on the same song, Andre's still in the show?
Now, what makes you think that Scarface can steal the show from a prime Jay-Z and Beanie Siegel? What makes you so certain of that? You get what I'm saying about how people talk about Andre? Like, this can't be life, don't exist. Like, that's not prime Jay and prime Siegel. Like, Scarface clearly doesn't have the best verse. He's got records with Nas where he's right there with Nas, if not past Nas. Go see Favor for a Favor. And Nas is prime. That album is on the same album that Nas's Like is on, okay? That's what I mean about, like, Nas's prime. It's like, no, Nas's Like is on the same album that Scarface is on, his Favor for a Favor. It's trading bars with Nas. So why is it that you think that a guy that can go back and forth with Nas and Jay in their primes
Ice Cube
is going to get stunted on by Andre? You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about that gravitas that he gets where it's like, who, what, where, why?
That's
what makes you say that? It doesn't, and respectfully, it just don't make any damn sense for you to talk that way about it that way.
I don't like to use this term in
yeah, people be talking though, Mike.
Yeah, no, I feel you, and I felt
like Face ain't went back and forth with the two greatest MCs of all time.
I don't know, more than that,
and outshone them on record.
He's on Smile with Pac too.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5th, Mike.
Yeah, he's on Smile with Pac too.
He in my top 5. Then it's 3 of the other.
I mean, look, man.
Only thing he missing for me right now is the Rakim verse, apparently, because he just covered 3 of my top 5. He's the 4th motherfucker.
He's rhymed with Cool G Rap and Cube too.
Without a problem.
And my question for people with this notion out there.
He got Cube on Hand of the Dead Body too.
My question would be, for people with this notion, how many high-level, all-time great MCs has Andre really shared the mic with in relation to that?
Raekwon.
Yeah.
And Big Boy.
Andre hasn't even had to go bar for bar with Method Man in his prime.
Listen to what I'm saying. Scarface traded verses with the prime Nas and Jay-Z. Y'all talking about Andre? What are we doing?
Yeah, man, I hate to say this, man, and
what we be doing? This is the shit that be pissing me off. It's like, why would you do Face like that?
We should. This is all I'm saying, and this is all I've been saying from the beginning. We shouldn't overstate Andre as an individual MC.
Why would you do Face like that?
Esquire with the super chat says, "Who maximized the commercial appeal of their artists better than Puff?" Good question. He created the formula with Big and defined the 90s look and sound with Mary and Jodeci. I think the best A&R and overall executive hip-hop's ever had in that way, from a promotional standpoint, because Puff is a promotional guy, too. He's not only a producer in that way where he knows what the people want to hear, and I think he made Biggie the commercial viable commodity that he became. And Biggie's versatility helped that too. And I think Puff saw that versatility. But, we talk about fashion trends, we talk about maximizing on what you have. I don't think Puff worked with, outside of Biggie, I don't think he worked with the level of talents that Dr. Dre worked with on Bad Boy.
No, I mean, Kim and Kiss come to mind, and Black Rob was a star, but not. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not fair. Easy Q, DOC, Snoop,
Yeah.
M50,
Yeah.
three stints with Nas and Busta. Like, no.
I'm gonna get through these super chats and we're gonna get to the rubric real quick because I know I gotta get up out of here. CJ Kid.
Tracks on the purple tape too.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere. It's absurd.
CJ Kid with the $20 super chat showing love. He said, without Q, no Dale, which is out of Hyro. So Dre has Ruthless, Lynch Mob, Hieroglyphics, Death Row, Who Banging, Bone Thugs and Harmony, Doghouse, Shady, Aftermath, G Unit, Black Wall Street, TDE, and Black Hippies. That's nuts. It's a lot.
So if you take Dre out, how does that go?
Yeah, you're right. If you take Dre out of the equation, how do things go?
You take Cash Money out the equation, Mike. We are okay. I'm sorry. Like, we are. Like, I'm not saying that in jest. It's like, no, Mike, I'm not okay without the Chronic and Doggy Style and Dog Food and No One Can Do It Better and freaking Straight Outta Compton and Get Rich or Die Trying. The only roommate I ever had almost murdered me because I played Get Rich or Die Trying so much. He literally walked into my room one day and said, if you don't stop playing this album, I'm going to murder you in cold blood.
Well, that's how I feel about our top 50 songs. It's like, I think of when people kept vouching for Stan and Lose Yourself. I'm like, well, if those songs were removed from hip hop and never happened, I think we'd be okay, and I think Eminem would still be okay.
I think Snoop spoke to that some, but I think they have also settled that. But I think Snoop shared some similar sentiments.
No. There's nothing to settle. That was his opinion. It's fine. Like, people can have an opinion without it being beef. Like, Esquire with the super chat says, y'all hit it on the head, and Mississippi doesn't support him enough because his sound leans more towards Texas and Tennessee, and Mississippi doesn't have a definitive sound. Maybe Mississippi's sound got taken with the Juicy sample.
Banner? It's very shady that you said that.
No, I just don't, I'm just putting out a conspiracy theory real quick. We need to do that interview.
David Banner, Crooked Letters, Gray Skies?
Yeah. Is David Banner the sound?
I mean, I'm asking Esquire 601. Banner ain't the sound?
Right. But
so.
even with Banner, though, with the record that he did, Real Girls Get Down on the Floor, that's what flipped. That's kind of Texas, too. And they got the Pimp C sample. So it feels like Mississippi's kind of been leaning on a mainstream level, because I don't know what Mississippi got going on locally. On a mainstream level, kind of been leaning towards the Texas sound since Banner came in. Now, I remember the Crooked Letter stuff with, before.
Kamikaze and David Banner. Yeah, right. Gray Skies. Crooked Letters, yeah.
Yeah. Deontay Smith with the super chat says, regarding your comment about Crip, are you saying that young artists should not try to appeal to older fan bases? Yes. That's what I'm saying. Because you're never going to please old heads as a young person. You're not.
Have you not seen what we have gone through with these old motherfuckers in this Nas stuff? Hell no. Tell an old motherfucker to kiss your ass. I'm sorry, and I'm trying to stop cursing, but just like that. Because here's the reality of the matter. You know what Nas's #1 stream song is? Last year? The song you did with 21. Mm-hmm. And all you Illmatic loving beep beep beep, shut the beep beep beep, shut the beep beep beep. Right.
Well, the thing is though, even the older artists can't please the older listener. So the younger artists don't have a chance. You might as well grow with the young people that are in your demographic. Don't go out there trying to chase an old audience. If they like you, they like you, cool. But don't try to, I think that's what Corday's messing up, man.
And I hate that we have to keep going back here. And this is what I'm saying. The Glove, what Glove did too. Glove reminded me of my childhood. We're going to go back to it right quick. Okay. Mike. Michael Jackson was outside until Thriller, right? Mike used to go do normal shit. Like go to the club, like date girls out in the open in public, like partying, drinking, bullshit, and party. Michael Jackson used to do that. before Thriller. You know, Prince used to do every interview and performance and be everywhere before Purple Rain. You want to know what happened to them niggas? They sold more records than everybody else. Mm-hmm. Shit stopped getting normal.
Yeah.
So when you sit up there and stop, so that's what I'm saying. Like, even for somebody like me that's acting like that don't matter, it's like, no, that was a separation. It's like, no, he did Thriller numbers. He did Purple Rain numbers. That's why Prince pulling up to the Grammys, sending motherfuckers letters talking about, I don't want anybody looking at me directly. And he wasn't talking that way when I Want to Be Your Lover was out. He wasn't.
LP with the super chat says,
happy when Dick Clark was interviewing his ass. He dropped Purple Rain. He's like, don't you look at me. That's what double diamond looks like, bitch.
Lord. LP with the super chat says, not enough is said about the blog era of rap. Crit, Gibbs, Cole, K-Dot, Danny Brown. Shout out to Danny Brown. Q, ASAP, Joey, all dropped great / classic albums during that time. That was a great time, too. CJ Kid with the super chat says, you read the super chat wrong, Mike. I said that Dre won't steal the verse from Face. Okay. Well, good. My bad. Look at me. I'm trying to stir up controversy. Darren Harris with the super chat says, Pay the Cost is definitely Snoop's second best album. He had Premier, Just Blaze, Dad's, Battle Cat, and High Tech. Not to forget the Neptunes and arguably the most slept on diss track of all time, Pimp Slap. I like Pay the Cost too. LP with the super chat says Freddie G needs to be put to the test. Classic albums, verses, mixtapes, and longevity. Great live show too. Thinks he washes a lot of your favorites. You want to put him through it real quick?
Who?
Freddie Gibbs.
I feel like we didn't finish Ross.
Okay, let's go through Ross then. CJ Kid says, show your love and made you look. It is like Dre's show your love and made me look like a Dre nut hugger. So disappointed. Oh, no. It's all good. My bad. Didn't mean to do you like that. Go ahead.
No, I mean, so hold on. How much time do we have, Mike? Because I know you got to be somewhere.
We got like 20, 25 minutes.
I want to run through Ross first because I feel like when we were running Ross through, we didn't finish running Ross through. We just paused.
Okay.
And so I want to do Ross, but then I'm cool with doing Gibbs after that. If somebody like actually shouted out like, yo, y'all need to run Gibbs through.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. Just let me pull it up. Yeah, because I felt like we stopped with Ross at 34. Yeah, Ross versus Cole.
Okay.
That's where we stopped.
Is that where we stopped? Okay.
Yeah, because hold on. Yeah.
Okay.
No. We got Game and Eminem, and Game beat Eminem, and that's where we stopped.
Nah, I think they were tied or something.
They were tied. Okay. See, this is why I wanted to do this more often because it's freaking hard to keep track. Okay.
Is the tiebreaker the diss record? No, I'm joking.
I'm not joking. I asked Hit about the diss record too. Now, you know what Hit said? Did you hear what Hit said?
I missed that part. What did he say?
He said that the first part was a homage record.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there it is.
He said the first part was him paying homage. He said, so the part that he came back and heard, he's like, he didn't even have nothing to do with that. So I don't know how that record turned into that, but it didn't start off as a diss record. And Hit gave clarification that it didn't start off as a diss record.
Well, good.
Okay. So, no, Mike. Okay, so I guess we can go straight to Gibbs then, because that's where Ross and Cole and Game are.
Because I think that Eminem edges out Game in that. Because we had to put the albums in order, and I think that came down to him.
Right. So it would be Eminem and then Game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No, that's cool. So then, yeah, let's go to Gibbs. Gibbs is immediately up against Game.
Okay.
So, Impact.
That's Game.
Live performance.
I
don't know enough about either of their live performance. I don't. I
I
don't know enough about either one of their live performances to give you a fair rating of that.
Me either. Yeah, I don't. I
Let's
would
see if
guess
we
we could
can't get
ask
some
the
people in the
people.
chat that have
Yeah.
seen them live to comment because it's like I don't feel comfortable giving out a rating that I'm not privy to.
No. We won't do that. What do the people say in the chat? Who's better live performer, The Game or Gibbs? And we'll come back to it.
Lyrics.
I don't know, man. I think I might go Game.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Game. Barely. Storytelling.
Gibbs?
I think it's Freddie too. I keep going back to Scotty Beam.
Yeah.
Yeah. Classic albums.
Well,
It might be tied.
That's interesting.
Because here's the thing. We've got Pinata, Bandana, Alfredo, and Soul Sold Separately.
Right.
Versus the documentary Doctor's Advocate. I think the
Jesus
albums
Peace.
is Game, but I think it's because of the longevity, not because.
Yeah.
Like, how about this? Are Game's four best albums better than Gibbs' best four albums? And where?
We got the documentary, Doctor's Advocate, Jesus Peace.
Jesus Peace.
Yeah.
I would tell you that.
It's
Yeah, 'cause
volume
you want
and
to know
longevity. I'm going Game.
You want to
Yeah.
know why it's Game? Because Game's got the documentary 2.0 and 2.5,
That's what I was thinking too.
and he's got LAX,
And he's got Born to
and
Rap.
he's got Born to Rap.
And it, I liked the Red album. I like
I don't.
I like
Damn.
Blood Moon. So,
No, that's not good at all.
Blood Moon's hard.
It's hard to listen to.
Man, please. Blood Moon is fire. Really?
Hard to listen to.
You got
Like, what
Bigger
is
Than
wrong
Me?
with Sam? No
Bigger than,
energy.
you don't like Bigger Than Me?
That Mike, 3 records don't do it for me.
Okay.
Not after I'd heard Jesus Piece 2, and I was like, oh, you can do a Jesus Piece, and this is what you did to me?
What about 1990 or 92?
Not up to par.
He's got a lot of quality albums. So I would have to I would give him the nod.
I would have to too. Classic songs.
The Game.
Longevity of albums.
The Game.
It's gonna be tough for Freddie to win this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, Game just needs to win more. Longevity of songs.
That's Game.
Well, Freddie's at 36 because we don't even need to get if the live performance is better. He's not beating Game.
Let me get to these super chats real quick so we can so I can catch up to that part. Matt Max with the super chat says all Puff did was make Mike say we don't like which was a rehash stuff. Big look. He said Big's look was Heavy D. Heavy D's look and hit samples from other eras and remixes. I mean, well, you know what I'm saying is, this is the thing. What Puff was doing, he was taking records that were never flipped in rap music and making them rap songs. He wasn't going out there making Let Me See It over again. And really, Big sounded nothing like Heavy D. Now, the idea of a big man being stylish and having some level of appeal,
Big's look is Hev.
Yeah.
No, Big's look is Hev.
No, but I'm saying that idea, yeah, that comes from Hev or whatnot, but the sound and the approach made that different. It wasn't like, did you ever listen to Big or look at Big and like, yo, man, that's a rehash of Heavy D?
No, but here's always what I thought, and I'll maintain this. Oh, Big Papa was made, and One More Chance remix was made with the Overweight Lover in mind, and those are Big's biggest singles.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, those are Overweight Lover inspired. Biggie's 2 biggest and best singles, which is probably Big Papa and One More Chance remix. Yeah, that's the Overweight Lover reincarnated for modern day times. So maybe not overall, but in terms of the fashionable image and in terms of those 2 records, yes, that's heavy.
Chris Hogan with the super chat says Crit has better solo work than Bun B and Pimp.
Like Biggie on One More Chance is talking the way that Hev talks to ladies. He just happens to be from Brooklyn instead of Mount Vernon. It's a little different in the burbs than it is when you in Bed-Stuy. That's all it is. Think about how it starts off. Think about it. That's Hev. First things first. I'll pop it. No. That's Hev.
That is heavy.
That's Hev.
Huh?
It is.
Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, but you know, one of the important things that you said, you gotta do it better. And you know, I think that he was an elevation of what Hev was.
And I also want to say this. Puff was never the problem. Because you're right, Mike. Can't you see? No, the Big Payback came out in 1975. So Puff doing it in 1994? No, he waited 19 years. It's the rest of you niggas that don't know how to wait. You taking like the song be out for 20 months now and you take it. It's like, nah, Big waited. Like even.
Well, that's my problem with the Sugar Hill Gang's Rapper's Delight. I mean, they took that record. It was out for 6 months, if that.
Right. No. There's some smoke to that because it's like, no, I don't mind hearing a classic sample flip when you've actually let it become a classic. Like, let it breathe for a decade or two. You know what I mean?
Right. Like, that was my problem with Fabulous is I'm So Into You with Tamia. Like
you want to know what I'd like to hear? Like, Mike, why ain't nobody took that award tour sample? It's been 30 years.
That shit's hard. Somebody should. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, let's not pretend like Diddy didn't also have all of us wearing Sean John velour suits to the club in 2002. And all the denim suits to church. Impact. Y'all was wearing those denim Sean John suits to church, man.
I was a Rockaware guy, actually, if you really want to know the truth. I had the Rockaware velours, Mike. I had me a white one and I had me a gray one. It's very nice.
Free with the super chat says, gotta move Drake up the list. He tied with Busta, and you said classic albums was the tiebreaker. So, okay, he beats Busta.
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that. Especially after what I've seen.
Mad Max with the super chat says, Doc won easily the tiebreaker. Doc 2 and Doc 2.5 are better to me than any Gibbs album, respectfully.
That's not true, but we hear you.
Okay. India Jams with the super chat says, the game is way better, and he rapped with almost everybody. Also, he's one of the dopest beat pickers. That he is. I think Freddie Gibbs is a dope beat picker, too. Nicodamus with the super chat says, Blood Moon album was a weed plate. Come on now. I like it.
Sure was.
I like it. Ying on a motherfucker.
I'll tell you what, Mike. We have. I'd like to try to get the 40 before we got to get you out of here, but that's probably not going to happen. The next people that I have up, you tell me who you want to take on. I got T.I., Styles, Lupe, Fabulous, and Guru.
Let's do T.I.
T.I.P. Impact. Reads with Freddie.
Oh, he's who's he going against? Freddie?
Freddie Gibbs.
Impact. That's T.I.
Live performance.
T.I.
Yeah, I'm about to say T.I. is great live. And if you don't know, now you know. Lyrics.
T.I.
Storytelling.
T.I.
Classic albums. There might be a tie.
Okay.
Classic songs is T.I.
T.I., yep.
And the longevity of albums is T.I.
Yep.
Gibbs needs to do more work. He's got 4 great projects. He needs more.
Yeah.
Like his Freddie album would be the 5th one in that bunch, but I don't think it's as good as those other 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who we got?
So we're moving T.I. on up. And he's next up is Game. Impact.
T.I.
Live performance.
T.I.
Lyrics.
T.I.
Storytelling.
T.I.
Classic albums go to Game.
Yeah.
I think the songs do too.
Classic songs?
Maybe.
I don't know about that. I don't
I
know
think
about that. But I
it could
do
be a
think
tie. That
How
could
We
be a
Do is
tie.
big. How We Do
Like
It,
T.I.'s
Hated Or
made the
Love It or
bigger
Hate It.
songs, but how many of them has he made? Because Games had a nice long run.
Okay. I'm fine with
You
that.
feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I think, like in a vacuum, it's T.I. Actually, it's T.I.
Yeah, he's had a very, very long run. I mean, I think when
Well,
you count his first, well, not first album, I would say his second, third, and fourth album. And then you throw in Paper Trail in there. He got a lot. Where you at?
longevity of albums. That's Game.
I think that's Game. That's the one the Game wins, I think.
Longevity of songs.
Hmm. That might go Game.
I think that goes Game.
Yeah.
Classic collaborations.
That's T.I. Game don't collaborate. Game has a
Next.
lot of collaborators with him, but he doesn't really.
All right, so T.I.'s moving on to Eminem. Impact.
Eminem.
Live performance.
Eminem.
Lyrics.
I say T.I. But if I said that, people would think I'm hating. So I'm going to just give that one to Eminem.
Storytelling.
Huh.
Good question.
Now this one's interesting.
I'm gonna say M.
Okay. So M got him up 4 right now, huh?
Classic albums and songs belong to T.I. in
That's,
my opinion, though.
that's T.I.
It has and with the longevity of albums and songs, I think belong to T.I.
That's T.I.
Classic collaborations.
That's T.I.
Are you sure?
I am. I am
Okay.
completely sure.
Career longevity quality.
It's
I think that
T.I.
might be M.
Really?
How?
Well, yeah. I'm thinking about the music, though, and how the longevity of the music. But, yeah.
M was here long before, and he was on EPMD2 on KD2.
It should be T.I., but it probably isn't.
And T.I.'s career has been stunted by some law infractions on a
Uh-huh.
few occasions.
That's the thing that I've thought about. Yeah.
So it's actually, oh, this is awesome. We got a tie, and Voice is the tiebreaker.
Well, that goes to T.I.
I would agree with you.
Yeah. 22 in the bed game. Super cool, still a threat at the same.
T.I. and Rick Ross.
That's a good matchup.
I like it. Impact.
T.I.
I tell you, it's Ross, Mike. You're thinking about the heyday and not the total picture. It's Ross.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
Think about this. Think about this. Ross is almost as big as Tip is in this city, and Ross ain't from here.
I'm not.
Tell me I'm wrong.
I'm not gonna say that, but I know what you mean.
Tell me I'm wrong. I know girls that literally be like, I'm gonna ride by Rick Ross' house today, Coop.
Because he bought Holyfield's house. Nah, it's hard to say he's bigger in the city.
I said almost as big or as big, and yes, he is.
He's done a lot for the city, and I think that's amazing.
He active down here. I'm not
He
saying
is.
that disrespectfully I'm saying that respectfully about Ross. I know who Tip is down here and out here.
Yeah.
Can I tell you the truth? I ain't never seen an MC in this city outside without security as many times as I seen Tip without it.
Oh,
I know who he is. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like ain't no hiding in him or none of that. That ain't what I'm saying. I'm saying Ross is pretty big here to be from, Miami.
Yeah.
Right. So I tell
Ross
you,
has
it's
had
Ross.
an incredible career, man.
And it's yeah. Live performance.
T.I.
I'm with your lyrics.
T.I.
I'm with your storytelling.
That's T.I. as well.
Classic albums. That's Ross. Actually, I think that might be a tie.
Because
You think that's T.I.?
I got Trap Music, Urban Legend, King, and Paper Trail. That's 4.
I got Deeper Than Rap. I got God Forgives I Don't. What's the one with Santorini, Greece, and Idols Become Rivals?
What's the name of that album? I know what you're talking about.
Shit.
It's
Better You Than Me?
yeah,
Rather You Than Me.
yeah. I don't think that's at the
No,
King
that's
and Paper
Tip.
Trail.
No, that's Tip. Classic Songs is Ross to me.
Yeah. Now that is, yeah.
The longevity of the albums, I would tell you, is a tie.
I might lean Ross on that.
I was thinking about
because
it
I think his stuff
I think
is
God
aged
Forgives is
better.
holding up better than any
Yeah.
T.I. album.
Yeah,
Would you agree?
I agree.
Okay. Longevity of songs.
That's Ross.
Yeah, because of the multitude.
Yeah, it is.
Classic collaborations.
That's Ross.
We're done here. T.I. stops right under Ross.
Let's do Guru, and I got to get up out of here.
Okay. You want to do Guru?
Yeah, let's do Guru.
Okay, Impact versus Freddie.
Oh, man, come on, that's Guru.
Yeah. Live performance.
Guru.
Yeah. Lyrics.
Guru.
I'll tell you Freddie.
Really? Wow.
No, not really. I was just trying to get him in somewhere. Storytelling.
Storytelling?
It's Guru.
That's Guru.
Classic albums.
Guru. Or is it?
The albums might be Freddie.
That might be Freddie. I mean, I don't want to discount the Jazzmatazz albums.
The Jazzmatazz is what made me lean towards your way when you said that. Is that I thought about Jazzmatazz and I thought about Watch What You Say and I thought about Volume 1 and Volume 2.
Yeah.
And then you think about there's Step Into the Arena, there's Hard to Earn, there's definitely Moment of Truth. It's hard.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Guru, man.
I might be cool with tying the classic album thing.
His bar work on Moment of Truth.
How about this? First of all, I mean, Moment of Truth is better than anything Freddie ever made.
Yeah.
But I think that's the only one that truly stands out over Alfredo and Pinata and Bandana. Moment of Truth is the only thing that they made that stands out in the end more than Freddie's best stuff. And if you look at Freddie's best stuff, I think it's more consistent end to end after Moment of Truth.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like Pinata and Bandana, in the end, even though you may not want to admit it, well, they probably play better than Hard to Earn or Step Into the Arena in the end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm cool with calling that a tie, even though that seems kind of crazy because it's Gangstar.
Right.
Classic Songs is Gangstar, though. So that's right. So it's right. Longevity of albums is, he made Moment of Truth.
That's Guru, yeah.
Right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's already done. Guru's moving up. So Eminem, Impact.
That's Eminem.
Live performance.
Eminem.
Lyrics.
Eminem.
Storytelling.
Eminem.
Classic albums.
Guru.
Songs.
Guru.
Longevity of albums.
Guru.
Yep. Longevity of songs.
Guru.
Classic collaborations.
That may be Eminem.
That's Eminem. Longevity.
Longevity of what, altogether?
Quality. Yeah, the quality of the longevity of their career.
I think that's Guru.
Are you sure?
I do. I feel like that.
I hate to bring up when did he pass, and I hate saying it like that.
Yeah, it's been over 10 years now, but it's like the stuff is aged so well, and you're right, M's still going. So
right, we talk about how Nas still going, how Snoop's still going.
Okay.
We wonder if Jay is still going.
Okay, well that's fair. Eminem.
That would put M over Guru, and that's where Guru would find himself is right after Eminem.
All right, well, I guess that is 7:30 exactly. So.
Oh, Mike, I made a mess up. It was supposed to be Game and Guru.
Let's do Game and Guru.
Right, so we know he's not beating Eminem because it would have came. How about this? If that would have been a tie, it would have came down to voice, and then Guru would have won.
Right.
Impact versus Game.
That's Guru.
Yep. Live performance,
Guru.
lyrics. I think that's game.
Okay.
Storytelling,
Guru.
classic albums.
Hmm.
I think that's game.
That's game.
Classic songs. Ooh,
That's Guru. He got mass appeal, man.
it's got mass appeal. It's
Yeah.
very hard. Is mass appeal on either one of our lists?
I tried to have it on my list. It didn't make my cut. Yeah, I know.
Fuck that.
It didn't make my cut.
No.
We're gonna explore that more, but you know, yeah.
Hold on, Mike. I just got a sidebar and write mass appeal down. I'd like to
Yeah.
apologize.
Nah,
I'd like to owe the
I had it
people
on
an
my list.
apology. The people an apology. Oh shit, I fucked up. Songs. Longevity of albums is what? Guru?
Mm-hmm.
Longevity of songs? Guru?
Mm-hmm.
Classic collaborations? I tell you, that's game.
Okay.
Career longevity quality, I tell you, that's game too.
Yeah.
So let's see where we are. No, Guru's moving on. So yeah, Guru's ahead of game, but after Eminem.
Okay. Let me get these last super chats. We'll get up out of here. Mad Max with the super chat says, "MV is not the blurb, is not the burbs. MV is not the burbs. Where you get that from?" Let's see. Kendall Outlaw with the super chat.
I ain't heard stories about Mount Vernon the way I heard stories about Bed-Stuy. Now somebody correct me if I'm wrong.
Kendall Outlaw with the super chat says, "Did you like Foxy Brown's 'I Can't,' which sampled Everything She Was by Wham?"
I thought about Take Me Home, but not if I.
Take Me Home's great.
It is.
Jay Short with the super chat says, "Isn't Freddie that bridge of underground rap from Doom to Griselda? I think T.I. has skills, but his music is not aging well, and he never occupied a lane by himself. What's his legacy / influence?" To me, his legacy, and maybe this might not be private to everybody else, but his legacy to me, he changed the way everybody was rapping at the time in the city of Atlanta and possibly the South in general. Like, he really made it where it's like, yo, guys are gonna rap down here. Listen to his verse on Never Scared. I think that's his legacy, where it's like you got a record that is on some rah-rah Atlanta club stuff, but he's actually rapping on there. You know what I'm saying? So a picture everybody else coming out sounding like how Bone Crusher sounded on that record. But T.I.'s legacy is like he made people start rapping like him again. Even got the hat cocked to the side. That's part of his legacy too. I think that's about it, man. We got 007 with a super chat. He says, "Slow down. You can still go and not produce quality." Here's a slow down. You can still go and not produce quality. And yeah, that's it. But yeah, man, let me get up out of here, man. Great show. Great interview today once again, Coop. And, people can go on Mirror Music's YouTube channel. Check out that full interview.
Yeah, hit us up.
Yeah, and hit that sub button on there. Hit that like and subscribe button here. Hit that bell icon so you know when we going live. And yeah, man, we out of here.
Hold on. First of all, I want to clear. Did you already end it, Mike?
Go ahead.
Nobody's trying to be disrespectful to Mount Vernon. I'm talking about how New Yorkers have told me about the difference between Mount Vernon and Bed-Stuy. Stop making it seem like I just pull this information out the middle of nowhere like I haven't, been around the world. I've been up in y'all neighborhood a little bit now. I ain't heard nothing about Mount Vernon being notorious like Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. That's all I'm saying. If I'm wrong, call me out on it. Shout out to Mirror Music 99. We got we got our first live show coming up Sunday. I'd love it if people will pull up. Shout out to Hit for the love again. Subscribe to the channels Mirror Music 99. Coop is problematic. According to Hip Hop is the Hub, we're going to be funneling the interview through here too. We appreciate all y'all for the love and the support. Let's keep going. Let's keep growing.
Yes, sir.
My first two interviews, Mike, think about this. My first two real big interviews with the OG from the West Coast and from the new G of the West Coast.
Definitely. And you know what? Let me clarify what 007 said. He said Eminem is not producing quality, is what he said. Chris with the super chat says, Coop, forgot Teflon Don by Ross. Yeah, people love Teflon Don. All right. Happy weekend, or have a great weekend, everybody. Appreciate y'all tapping in with us. And yeah, Leroy Green, we'll see you Monday. Yes, sir.